Shalom Akim. This the brother CHAARAWTAZA, GMSORLANDO, Florida. Okay, so I just wanted to do a sit down on certain things that's going on right now. We're gonna call this sit down the hypocrisy of polite. The African that doesn't keep African customs. Okay? And the whole reason for this is you know, these Egyptian niggas, they want to come up, they want to talk, you know, they want to try to get in with us, man. They want to try to come in and, you know, try to talk shit about the Bible. The Bible ain't real, it's been plagiarized. You know, the black woman is God, and and stuff like that. You know, things like that. So they start messing with the Hebrews. Start messing with the Israelites, and they went up to the ISUPK, and then after they went to them, they went to GMS, which is who I'm affiliated with. Now, when they went up to GMS, they started to you know, the elders, they went into, you know, various different things, you know, that's in the scriptures. And one of the things that they went into was the whole issue concerning rape. And then even more so, the whole issue concerning what is the age that a woman or a girl should be married off, given to marriage. Now we know, as the scriptures say, the age that a girl should be given to marriage is at the time of her cycle, her menstrual cycle, her first cycle. That's the time that she reaches the age where she's now able to be married. Okay? That's what the scripture says. The flower of her age. Okay, so this guy polite, as he goes up, you're going to see it in the video, as he goes up and as the elders start to bring out that, hey man, it's okay. You know, first of all, you can seize a woman by force and take her and have sex with her, which today they call that rape. He had a problem with that. And then secondly, he had a problem with the elders saying that as soon as a girl has her period, we're going to be dealing with them. Now, the elders are talking about in the kingdom. Obviously, we can't do it today because of the statutory rape laws. No, the statutory rape. Even though a girl gives consent, it's still considered statutory rape. But anyways, that's a whole nother subject. So, Polite and the other dude, Sarnetta, had a problem with the elders saying that we're going to deal with, and that it's okay according to the Bible, and it's okay according to YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem YAHAWASHI, to deal or to have sex with a girl that has had her first period around the age of 14 or whatever. As soon as they had their first period, you can have sex with them. Meaning you can marry them. Okay? And they had a problem with that. Polite had a problem with that. Now the hypocrisy in it, and we're going to go through all of this. The hypocrisy in this shit is that even though the scriptures say we could do these things, even though the scriptures belong to us, Israel, Yasharallah, that even the Africans or the Hamites in Africa today keep this same custom of marriage, of marrying off of a daughter, of a girl being recognized as eligible to be married as soon as her first period comes. She's married off. This is a custom that they still keep in Africa today. All right? Because this whole thing right here, these laws that we got in this Bible, they're laws that make sense. Okay? You don't have to be an Israelite to recognize that, oh, I need to marry my daughter off when she get her first period, or things are going to go wrong. All right? So these Hamites have the same law of marriage as Israel, except they got added addendums. And that's just based off of wherever you go. Like Laban in Syria, one of their added addendums that it was that they had to marry, the oldest daughter had to be married before the youngest daughter could be married. All right, we see that in the scriptures. All right, so we're going to go through, we're going to watch what the elders said, we're going to watch the response that Polite gave, we're going to watch what Polite said after the fact to his congregation, and then we're going to get a conclusion of what Polite said and what Polite thinks and what the people of his group, New Covenant, or, you know, the people that say they're Africans, whatever they call themselves, we're going to get a conclusion of their belief as concerning marriage and the age of marriage and rape, and that we're going to get an understanding of that from them. And then we're going to go in and we're going to look at the customs of a certain African tribe called the Himba. That's just one tribe. There's other tribes too. The Maasai have the same custom. All right, but that's one tribe. We're going to look at the Himba tribe. And then after that, we're going to see where the hell did this guy Polite, because he's saying he's an African, and he's not keeping the African custom concerning marriage, which is the same as what the scriptures say. All right, we're going to see where this guy Polite gets this from and why he's not keeping the customs of his so-called fathers, what he calls his fathers, the Africans. Okay? All right, when you come down to it, basically these African dudes that's calling themselves Africans, most of them are hypocrites. They say these things about us like, oh, the Bible is a white man book, but they read the translation of the white man from the epics of Gilgamesh, the fucking text from the pyramids. The white man discovered that shit, and guess what? He translated it. He could put whatever you want to in it. You don't know, because you don't know how to read those languages. All right, so they accuse us of that. They accuse us of certain customs that we got in the Bible, like the marriage thing, saying, oh, that shit is wrong, and we can't accept that. But then at the same time, the Africans do the same thing. They keep the same custom that's in our scriptures of marriage. But these Pan-Africans, they're not keeping them customs because they're hypocrites. It's not about, see, for them, it's not a thing about we're Africans, we need to be Africans, we need to keep the African customs, we need to go back to our old ways, and that's not how it is with them. Or at least, let's say, at least Polite. With Polite, it's a thing of money. Let me get this money. Let's get an economical system started. Let's do this and let's do that. Taking all the good, none of the bad, not even keeping that customs. Not even keeping the customs of the Africans that he claims to be. So let's get to it, because I don't want to take too much time.
Just making sure. They said that you said it was okay to rape 12-year-old girls. I don't know if that's true. I already brought that up. Okay, good. That's what I want. Slander. That's what I'm saying. I wanted to know. I didn't put that on you. I didn't put it on you.
So you know what I thought? Which we teach now, is that when you go into the law in the ancient world, men, if they saw a woman that they like, they can grab the woman up and rape the woman, man. and we're going to read the scriptures. We're going to read the scriptures, all right? Hell no, you have no problem with that.
The Lord has a period.
No, but that's not good law.
Well, let me say this. No, let me say this.
The Lord didn't have a problem with men raping a 12-year-old or any woman that they saw on sight.
The Lord didn't have a problem with it.
Why you David me?
But you know what you're thinking? See, you were brought up in this man's food system, so that's how you think. That's how you think. But back in the ancient world, if you saw, we're talking about.
Remember what the elder said. You were brought up in this man's food system. He was talking about the school system, which the school system is a tool of propaganda to make you conform to what societal views they want you to conform to, so that they can bring forth their agenda, which their agenda now is having a woman to rule over the man, so that we can be in slavery forever under them. So that's what the elders are saying. You came up in the school system. All right, and they brainwash you to think that. All right, but this is the correct way. So let's keep going.
Grab a woman, man.
And God had no problem with this?
Of course not.
Deuteronomy 22 and 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, I'm sorry, verse 28. My bad. Verse 28. Yeah. Yeah, verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed.
The word virgin, by the way, is a Hebrew word. Let me see if I remember. Baswala. All right. Now the prophecy of Mary, a virgin shall conceive. The word there, virgin, is ayalama, which means young woman of marriageable age.
Gotcha.
Virgin in here means baswala, virgin, a woman that never been, hit, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her, he may not put her away all his days.
Now, when you go back, and you know the Hebrew,
Now it's going to sound like prostitution now.
I just want to comment on this real quick. He says, Polite says, now this sounds like prostitution. All right, but I want you to understand something. All ancient cultures had a dowry, which they would give to the fathers. If you watch National Geographic, or you do any kind of reading or research on Africans or Hamites today, you'll see that their dowries are paid in cattle. For instance, the Maasai people, all right, which is in sub-Saharan Africa, the Maasai people, they pride themselves on their cattle. They drink the blood from the cattle. They drink the milk from the cattle. They eat the cattle meat sometimes. All right, and they're a pastoral people. They migrate a lot. All right, so these Maasai, when they have marriages they marry off their daughter, the man that's marrying that daughter will pay the father in cattle. That's called a dowry. So why is he making it like, because it came out the scriptures and because it's paid to her father, that now it's prostitution? Do these things not happen in Africa? Amongst the people that he claims that he is? It does. See, because this guy's a hypocrite. But let's keep going.
No, he grabbed the woman in the field. The word, no. He humbled it. He gave it to the father after the fact. The word humble, when you go into the Hebrew, the word humble is the word aina. Yep. When you look up the word aina, it means to force, to take by force, to arrest. So what does that word mean? Rape.
Now the word rape comes from rapere, which is a Latin word if I'm not mistaken, and it means to seize. All right, take by force, carry off by force, or arrest. Okay?
Yeah. It means rape.
I understand.
Okay.
Now, the next question is this. Now that the Bible has made it clear that it's permissible to rape, why are we still reading the Bible?
Now, this is the total response of a weak-natured man. When you're into something that you believe in, right? And the minute you find something that doesn't fit that makes you uncomfortable, then all of a sudden you say, look, I can't read this book because this one thing just made me uncomfortable. All right, we grew up in America. America told us that we wasn't supposed to hit women. We were supposed to treat women like queens. While we treat our friends and men like dogs. So we could fight each other. We could fight a man. We could slap the shit out of a brother. You know, you could curse at a brother, but you can't do these things to a woman. You know? So the minute that he, while still in his brainwashed mind of having American traditions and values still within himself, gets uncomfortable by the truth of the scripture, which is which the scripture that the brother is bringing out, this law that this brother is bringing out is also practiced amongst the Hamites, the Africans who he say he is. So in his moment of uncomfortableness, he flees from the concept of this marriage law that this scripture is bringing out, when this same concept is upheld by the Africans, which he claims to be the son of. So this is a weak-natured person, man. This is a person that's not fit for the truth. That's why he's not in the truth. Yeah, he can speak real good, you know, but like he's a good orator. He's crafty. He's slick. But he's slick on the left-hand side. The Most High did not choose him for the truth. Because of this reason right here. He gets uncomfortable and flees. He can't take the heat in the kitchen. Alright? If you're going to be in something, you take everything about it. The good and the bad. You don't just take the good. Like these niggas want the glory of Africa. The glory of Africa. And Africa isn't. They never say nothing bad. Hey, we tell you the bad and the good, man. We curse out niggas and we curse out the nigga women. We curse out niggas and we curse out the black woman. Both of their ass, man. And we curse out brothers. Good and bad. Let's keep going.
Because you know what? Because it's in the Bible. We have faith in the Bible. We have faith in the Most High. Whatever the Most High says, we got to accept it, man. You know what? You know you about.
That's it. Whatever the Most High say, we got to accept it. And that's how Israelites are. But them Africans ain't like them niggas that say they're Africans ain't like that. Only if it's good they want to accept it. What are you trying to build? You trying to build a new African culture in America? Are you gonna follow the ways of your fathers, who you think is your fathers, the Africans? Because if you're going to be an African, be an African. Follow the Africans. But if you're going to be Israel, be Israel. Follow Israel. Follow what the scriptures say. And that's how we roll. Let's keep going. So in this clip, we dealt with the rape thing. Now in this clip, Polite is going to get all... Polite and Sarnett is going to get all messed up over the fact that the elders say that the scriptures say, let's say that the scriptures say that as soon as a woman has a period, she's ready to be married and she can be married, and you marry her off. I'm going to add this one more time. The Africans believe the same thing. They keep the same custom right here. And we're going to prove it. We're going to show it. But Polite, saying that he's an African, does not keep that custom and does not believe in that custom. Alright? That means that you are a hypocrite, and your whole Pan-African thing, what you're saying you are, is a goddamn mask. You're not really keeping it. You're not really you're not keeping the customs of the Africans. Alright, but let's go.
When the kingdom is established, we're going to get women when they 12 years old. Right. Alright? Say it again. As soon as they start in the kingdom of heaven, when their period starts, that's when they become a woman. Okay. Alright? So we're going to deal with them when their period starts. Right. When their monthly starts. Have sex with them. Have babies, man. With 12-year-olds. Brother, there's in the kingdom, we're going to do that, man. We're going to get them young. We're going to get them young. And the kingdom is coming. The kingdom is right here, but the Most High is going to establish the kingdom, right? No, look up in Google women that were pregnant under the age of 12. You got 9-year-old women that were pregnant. You got 11-year-old that were pregnant. Yeah. As soon as they get their period, so they become a woman. When did Eve become a woman? When did Eve become a woman according to the Bible? When did Eve become a woman? At what age did she become a woman according to the Bible? It doesn't tell you whenever she got a period. The same thing with marriage. I got your answer right here. I got your answer right here. Hold up, the elder got the answer. 12 years old. Hold up, the elder got the answer. Okay, this is how old Eve was? Yeah, no, not Eve, but just in general as far as a woman. What was the woman created for, the brother asks? I think that's a good question. We'll answer that. 1 Corinthians 7:35. I can answer that one. And this I speak for your own profit,
not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that you may attend upon the Lord without distraction. But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely towards his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age, and need so require, let him do what he will, he sinneth not, let them marry. Now when does a woman have the flower of her age? The flower of her age is a period.
Now let's go to polite. Let's go, now after all of that, alright, let's see what polite has to say about it.
When their period starts, that's when they become a woman. Okay. All right. So we're gonna deal with them when their period starts. Right. When their monthly starts. Have sex with them. Have babies, man. Because there's in the kingdom we're gonna do that, man. We're gonna get them young. We're gonna get them young. And the kingdom is right here.
I'm gonna tell you something, black man. Hey, you gotta watch these stinking Africans, man. And they know you not the same people.
I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head.
All right, so, you know, when I go out on those streets and I ask people about their doctrine, the last thing I expect to hear from the Hebrew Israelites was that so long as the girl is menstruating, she is a woman, and you're permissible to have sex with her. The last thing I expect to hear from the Hebrew Israelites was that so long as the girl is menstruating, she is a woman, and you're permissible to have sex with her. The last thing I expect to hear from the Hebrew Israelites was that so long as the girl is menstruating, she is a woman, and you're permissible to have sex with her.
Okay, now you just heard what he said. So long as the girl is menstruating, she is a woman, and you are permitted to have sex with her. He said he shouldn't hear that when he go on the streets. We gonna remember that, Mr. Polite.
Even down to 9 years old. So how many of you are parents in here? Just raise your hand if you're a parent. How many of you, keep your hands up. How many of you are black nationalists in here? Keep your hands up. If you're a parent, if you're black nationalists, and down with black power, you're down with Africa, you're way in Africa, red, black, and green. How many of you know that this kind of teaching is unacceptable in our community? Yeah. Let me hear y'all say this.
It's unacceptable to teach that when a girl has a menstruation, as long as she's menstruating, as long as she has a menstruation, then you can have sex with her. But he says that's wrong to teach. Let's see what his father has to say about this.
Unacceptable.
This is unacceptable.
This is unacceptable. Nah, that don't sound real. He's talking about Negroes who say they can rape their babies at 9 years old. One group rape the babies, other group eat the babies. Now,
this is slander too, because the brother told you, the elder Ricard told you, we're not gonna be having sex with no 9-year-old girls, man. He already told you that in the video. You know that shit, Polite. But you just gonna use that shit for the shock factor because you're a good orator, man. You gotta shock the people. You gotta play to their emotions, man, because you took that psychology and you're using the same tools the white man used, propaganda, to appeal to the lower self, as y'all call it, or what we say, the flesh. To appeal to the lust of the flesh. So you gotta go ahead and just appeal to their emotions. And slander. But hey, let's keep going.
this is unacceptable. Say Hebrew Israelites, this is unacceptable.
Hebrew Israelites, this is unacceptable.
Say ISUPK.
ISUPK.
This is unacceptable.
This is unacceptable.
You gotta light these guys' asses on fire, man. You can't teach this. You might be a sister that engages in a relationship with one of these brothers with your little 12-year-old girl. And in the name of God, they may believe they have the right because they say it's in their Bible. See, we have to expose these kind of teachings in our community because there's too much molestation going on in our community. Right. And it starts in the black community, but now it's been infiltrated. And when people start saying in the name of God, they have the right to do these things, but we understand not to break the laws today. That's what they'll tell you. They'll say, we ain't say to do it because we ain't going to break the laws today. But at the same breath, you're God-fearing.
and say God condones this kind of activity. That's a very thin line. That's a very thin line.
Yeah, well, you know what? Africans condone this type of activity. Your God, the black woman, which I'm guessing that you include African women, or what we call Hamite women. The Hamite woman condone this type of activity. As we're going to see in this next clip, a young girl getting raped according to the definition of the word and being forced to be married at a young age, so she got her period, her menstruation. A black woman is engaging in this type of activity. So your God condones this activity as well, nigga.
So this debate I take very personal, because I have a 7-year-old girl, I have a 15-year-old girl, I have a 16-year-old girl, and I work too hard to gain consciousness for someone to take Africa away from me. Work too hard. Work too hard. Our leaders work too hard for people to take Africa away from us.
All right, so there you go. You see it. So this man says, he says, hey man, we shouldn't be hearing that as soon as a girl has a menstruation that she's eligible for marriage and eligible to have sex. We shouldn't hear those type of things. That's not right to teach it. And his people, his congregation who say they're African says that's not right either. Point one. Point two. He says that God condones these things, which the Most High does condone that. And he says that no God should condone these things. Well, guess what? Guess what? The Hamite women, the African women condone these things, because we're going to show you. So if Polite is claiming to be an African, and he's claiming to follow the customs of the Africans, all right, why is Polite speaking against the Africans, against these customs that's in the scriptures that the Africans follow? Is it because Polite has an emotional vendetta against the scriptures? All right? Is it because he's immature? I think he's very immature. I think he's immature. Because an immature person would say, hey, I can't read this Bible, man, because I think it's the white man book, and I'm just going to try to prove that it's wrong without even really understanding it. That's immature. Or is it because he's an American? All right, he's a black man. He's a white man with a black mask on, meaning he has the mentality of the so-called white man. Because he doesn't have the mentality of the Israelite. He doesn't have the mentality of the African. Because the Africans keep these things. It must be that he has the mentality of a slave in America. Of a man in America that still keeps the customs of America while saying that he's African. I see why a lot of them African people are against you, man. in your own little circle. Because you're a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite. So let's look at one tribe. All right. See this girl right here? She's a Himba. See her? Little girl right here. She's a Himba. Now the Himba tribe is a tribe in Africa. But I took this quote right here because I want you to understand something. I want you to understand that these people have not been affected by any other people or any other religions outside of theirs because of the place where they live at. Now, here's the quote. Because of the harsh desert climates in the region where they live and their seclusion from outside influences, the Himba have managed to maintain much of their traditional lifestyle. Okay? They haven't been influenced by Islam. They haven't been influenced by Christianity. They haven't been influenced by Judaism, or what you call Judaism. They haven't been influenced by them things, because they've been secluded. It says the Himba. I'm not even going to pronounce all these words. I'm going to just read the English. It says the Himba are indigenous people of about 20,000 to 50,000 people living in northern Namibia, which is in Africa, and the Kunini region, formerly whatever. It says, and on the other hand, on the other side of the Kunini River in Angola, there are also few groups left of the Ovatwa, which also belong to the Himba people, but are hunters and gatherers. Himba are mostly a semi-nomadic, pastoral, nomadic meaning they move around, they don't really have a home. Semi-nomadic meaning they move around, and sometimes they stay in one place. Okay? Alright, which they claim, they try to say that, anyways, that's another sit down. It says pastoral people, closely related to the Herero, and speak some shit that is similar to the Herero language. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Alright, their marriage status indicated by hairstyle. These people which all ancient people did this. They had certain things that you could just look at a woman and tell if she was married, or if she wasn't, if she was a widow, or what. It was either her clothing, or her hairstyle, or maybe a hair, the thing that she wore on her head, or maybe her shoes, or maybe something that she wore around her neck. Every tribe of people had these things. Alright? Alright, among the Zulu, they have a little skirt that women wear, and that lets you know that they're married. See, we study Africa too. I know about Africa just like these niggas do. Okay? We're Israelites. We know about everything. Alright, so it says the hairstyle of the Ova Himba indicate age and social status. Children have 2 plaits of braided hair. From the onset of puberty, the girl plaits are moved to the face over their eyes, and they can have more than 2. Now remember that. It says married women wear hairdresses with many streams of braided hair, colored and put in a shape with ojis. That's a type of clay mixture. That's where they get the red from. Now notice this girl. She has a headdress. See that? She has the many plaits coated in the adjes, this clay material. So we know automatically that she's married. And she's pretty young. She's probably look like she's about 17. Let's keep going. Look at these girls. These girls right here, they have the headdress. They have the long plaits. Okay, you see that? They have the long plaits. That indicates that they're married. This girl right here, she has a fucking doll in her hand. So I'm guessing that they're about the age between 12 and 14. This is a symbol that they're married. Remember, children wear plaits on their head. They don't have the long plaits going to the front of their head. They have long braids coated in this stuff right here. You don't get this coating until you're married. Her breast is just breaking forth. Look at that. See that? Her breast just breaking forth. Alright? Shows that she's young. These are young girls that's married. This one is still playing with a doll. Alright? So let's go to this first video. Celebrating the first menstruation.
When a girl has her first period, her father will remove the bracelets made of vegetable fibers which she wears around her wrists and ankles. He then cuts off her braids and places on her head the ekori, the women's headdress. Komane is now ready to get married, and her parents will decide who...
Notice, it says she is now ready to get married. Notice the 2 braids on her head. 1, 2. Okay? Let me go back.
and her
1, 2, over her eyes, showing that she's still the child. But she's going through a ceremony because she has received her period, which means that she's now ready to be married. Notice the other one. And she has 2 braids too. 2 plus 2 going to the front. Let's keep going.
parents will decide who should be her future husband. Polygamy husband. Decide who should be now ready to get married. Headdress. Komane is now ready to get married, and her parents will decide who should be her future husband. Polygamy is practiced among the Himba, and Komane may have sexual relations with whoever she wants, provided she asks her husband for permission.
Well, hold on. So, remember the black woman is God, right? Now, if the black woman is God, which the word God means judge, if the black woman is a judge, all right, if the African woman is a judge amongst their African tribes, why is it that this African girl cannot have sex with any other man unless she asks her husband first? She has to get permission. Now, if you have to get permission from somebody, that means that somebody has dominion over you, as a king has dominion over a people, or as a God has dominion over his creation. So if she's the God, then why doesn't her husband have to just accept the fact that she's going to do whatever she want to do? Or have to accept the fact let's just keep going.
But it is important for a woman to be the first wife, as this confers certain privileges, such as the care of the sacred fire, which give her a more dignified status. To get married.
Now, remember, notice the 2 braids showing that she's still a child, and she's not married yet, and they're celebrating her first menstruation. She's pretty young. Okay. Now, most ancient civilizations and tribes, whether they were African or Hamites, whether they were in Asia, whether they were in Europe or whatever, they married their daughters off at the first sign of menstruation, or around that time, okay? Around that time, all right? Depending on what the father wants to do. Now, that first menstruation was her journey from adolescence to adulthood. That marked the time that she became an adult. So let's examine this Himba tribe some more. Now in this video, what you're going to see is, you're going to see the Himba tribe. You're going to see a young girl getting married. They're going to force this girl to get married. They're going to force her to go to her new husband's house. They're going to force her. Now, what do we say the word rape mean? It's from the Latin rapere. Matter of fact, let's prove it. Rape. From the 14th century, seize, prey, abduct, take by force. See, rape has nothing to do with sex. Alright? It has everything to do with taking somebody or seizing somebody and carrying them off. It has nothing to do with rape. All that fucking new talk of this shit with this age and all this shit, that comes from the so-called white man when he wanted to up the age of consent. And we're gonna go all into that. All right, but rape has nothing to do with sex. It has everything to do with the C's. When he's thinking about rape, he's thinking about nigga taking the girl, beating her ass and forcing her to have sex with him and shit like that. Nah, man. Rape just means to seize, to take her. And you might take her by force. Just pick her ass up and take her, man. Nope, you're gonna be my wife. Alright, so it says, it's from the Latin, rapere, to seize, carry off, by force, abduct. Alright, it says to seize or to carry off by force. Now you're going to see that in this video. And guess who's going to do it? His God, the African woman. She's going to do it. Now he said that he had a problem because God condones activity like that. But his God that condones activity like that, as we're going to see in this video.
I'm good. I'm good.
He says, Kiombe, come in. Now.
She's already run away from home twice to avoid getting married. So
that's her right there. She has 2 braids.
Her family tried to pretend that it's not in fact her getting married, but another girl. Kaumbe, though, is still suspicious.
Said because you've already refused to get married. I'm just asking you to escort a friend.
She needs to be prepared for her wedding. To do that, her family need to get her into the hut. Her father steps in to try and persuade her.
Go into the hut, my child. I won't. Just get in there. What for? You're escorting your friend. You're escorting your friend. Now notice. She has the 2 plaits going in the front. You see 1, 2, and they're going over her eyes, showing that she's still an adolescent, but she got her cycle. All right. So now they want to marry her off. What type of girl embarrasses her father like this? In front of other people. It's talking about Esau. Why are you refusing to come? I'm not coming in.
A quick shower finally drives her inside, where her family can get her ready. Whereas a boy becomes a man when he gets married, a girl only becomes a woman when she has children. The men wait outside while the women prepare the bride. After a quarter of an hour, Kaumbe is ready to be taken to her husband.
The men were hopeless at making her enter the hut.
The wearing and ceremonial casting off of the father's shoe symbolizes the bride leaving her father's house. But Kaumbe is still trying to resist.
Now let's look up this word rape again one more time to refresh your memory. Rape, from the Latin rapere, seize, carry off by force. Is this not what's happening to her? Guess who's doing it? Your God, the black woman. The African woman. They're carrying this little girl off by force. They're committing rape, according to what the word means.
For Yvonne,
See, Yvonne, the little white girl, she comes from the West. She comes from England or America. She has the same thought process as Polite. This shit is wrong. Why are they doing this? I'm about to cry. They shouldn't do this. She's just a child. Oh, boo-hoo. This is a Polite's disposition. Polite will be sitting right beside her like, yeah, this shit is wrong. So is Polite really an African? Does Polite really keep the African traditions? Or is he really an American keeping the philosophies and the customs of America? Being a fucking hypocrite, saying that he's African when he's not even keeping the African ways. You're a hypocrite. Don't come tell us we're hypocrites or we're wrong or we're this or we're monsters. You're a hypocrite, man. Scripture say judge not, lest ye be judged with this. The scripture say judge not, lest ye be judged. The same thing that you judge a person by. Let me get the scriptures. Matthew 7, verse 1. Judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Exactly. Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull it out? Let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye. Thou hypocrite! First cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. The reason I read that is because here you is saying that we cannot be letting the Hebrews teach this. We can't let them do it. They talking about taking our babies, our daughters when they get their periods, and marrying them off or having sex with them. Wait, hold on. So you judging us. You saying that we wrong when we right according to the scriptures. And then on the other hand, the goddamn people that you say you a part of and that you want to be, that you aspire to be, they're doing the things that we're telling you is right. You're trying to rebuke us or correct us for it, telling us we're wrong, when the Africans doing the same shit. Oh, glorious Africa. So you're in the disposition, you're in the same position as this woman. You're in the same thought process as this white woman. But you accuse us of following the ways of the white man. Thou hypocrite, cast the beam out of thine own eye. Let's keep going.
It's almost unbearable to watch. Kaumbe is taken to her new husband's homestead a few miles away.
Oh, that's a big old dude. He ain't 12 like her. He probably in his 20s. I guess that's wrong too, Polite.
Where she will stay for the next few nights before returning to her parents.
Well, you think she finna stand there and he ain't finna have sex with her? She finna just sleep in his fucking hut and he ain't gonna have sex with her? Come on, man. Be serious.
That's his wife. It's appalling. Absolutely appalling. I think the parents have handed over parental responsibility to a man, and the emotions of their child and the care and it's just awful. No words can describe how I'm feeling at the moment. That
sounds just like Polite, man. Let's Let's play polite again.
Ask people about their doctrine. The last thing I expected to hear from the Hebrew Israelites was that so long as the girl is menstruating, she is a woman, and you're permissible to have sex with her, even down to 9 years old.
You see that? Let's play this white girl again.
I think it's appalling. Absolutely appalling. I think the parents have handed over parental responsibility to a man, and the emotions of their child and the care and it's just awful. No words can describe how I'm feeling at the moment.
Don't that sound like polite? So what the fuck really is polite? He's accusing us of being followers of the white man, but he's following the white man's doctrine. He sounds just like this white bitch right here, man. Alright, so let's keep going. Alright, if you noticed her hair, she was still a child, but she had a menstrual cycle, so they married her off. Alright? If you look at this video, you'll notice that the women were forcing this girl. They literally picked her up and carried her to her new husband's house, or her husband's house that she was about to marry. Why'd they do that? What is that called? It's called rape. Rape means to seize and carry off by force. Is that not what they did to her? Is that not what the so-called, what he says, God, is that not what his God did to this girl? So what's the problem, polite? Is it just because the Bible says it? Or is or you're not really with them Africans, you're really with the white man? Alright? If you're going to keep the customs, if you're going to say you're an African, keep the customs of the Africans. Don't try to come against Israel, because we tell you the righteous laws. That law is so righteous that even the Hamites keep it. Now what the Most High say about our laws? Let's go to that. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Deuteronomy 4:5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. Now we're going to get into the wisdom of this marriage law. We're going to get into the wisdom of why you marry a girl off at the sight of her period, at the sight of her cycle. Okay? We're going to get into the wisdom of it. Because the Most High said that these laws were our wisdom in the sight of the nations. Alright? It says, therefore keep them and do them, for this is your wisdom in the sight, in understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who had God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous, so right, as all this law which I set before you this day? Now this law is so righteous, this marriage law is so righteous that even the Hamites keep this law as a custom among themselves. That's how righteous that law is, that marriage law. So why the hell is polite going against that? Because a white man is against it, and a white man is wicked. And it says the wicked love the net of the it says our people love the net of the wicked in Proverbs, man. Alright, if you're gonna be an African, keep the African law. Stop letting the white man tell you what the fuck influence you. Hey, we say you gotta be born again, man. You gotta wash all that bullshit out your head and start over with the scriptures. Well, y'all should do the same damn thing if y'all gonna be Africans. That's why y'all whole little thing is in shambles, man. And the Most High about to judge that shit. That Egypt shit and that Pan-Africanism shit. Alright? So why would the ancient world, alright, and these Himba people marry off their daughters so young? The Most High said that when the people heard our laws, they were going to say that our laws was righteous. They was going to say that we had wisdom. So why would these people marry off their daughters so young when she got a period? Why would the ancient world do that thing? Why would the scriptures say for us to do that? All right, let's go to Sirach chapter 7, verse 24. In fact, we'll go ahead, Sirach. Chapter 7, verse 24. I'm sorry, hold up. 7, verse 24. Alright. Sirach chapter 7, verse 24. Matter of fact, we'll start at 23. Hast thou children? Because remember, before a girl get her period, she's in adolescence. As she gets her period, she's transitioning to adulthood. So she's kind of still a child a little bit. So it says, has thou a child, instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. That means force them to do shit if you have to, because it's for their good. Alright? Why did they take her to go get married? Because it's for her good and the good of their community, their tribe. That she goes and she gets married and has a husband. Economically, legally, and I don't know how to call it, dealing with shame, man. So she wouldn't shame herself. Her father had to force her, her mother had to force her, and the women of the tribe had to force her to go get married. She's a child, she don't know better. It says, hast thou daughters? Well, she's still in the stage of a child. It says, hast thou daughters? Have a care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful towards them. Watch over your daughter's body. If you don't like the whole rape thing, then you don't let your daughters go out by themselves, just walking around and shit. They're just doing what the fuck they want to and having on all kind of sexy ass, tight ass clothing. Nobody won't rape your daughter. We didn't have a problem of rape in Israel. When you read the scriptures, Israel didn't have a rape problem. Okay? It's just certain instances that it happened. Okay? For a reason. Verse 25. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. Alright, you see that? Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. What does weighty mean? It means heavy. So you need to marry your daughter off soon as she get that period. So she don't abuse herself over much liberty. Okay? Alright, so let's go back. So it's common sense to marry your daughter off when she get her period, man. Any knowledgeable civilization will understand that. And that, you know, that period is a sign of puberty, and that the body is changing from adulthood and is ready to bear children. Alright, the body, when the body goes through that, through puberty, it promotes hormones that promote sexual desire in both sexes. That's why you gotta marry your daughter off, man. She not gonna know. She lacking wisdom. She's partly a child and partly an adult. Her brain is actually changing. So if you don't marry her off, it'll bring shame to the dad, the father, and then if she let's say she get with a dude, and the dude just won't fuck, like in America, this shit happens. The dude just fucking, she get pregnant. Now she by herself. She gotta raise this kid by herself. And then guess what? The kid is not entitled to he's not entitled to his father's inheritance because he doesn't really have a father. He got a father, but it wasn't a contract. Marriage is a contract. That's why in the ancient days, in our law, you had to have the cloth with her blood to show that she was a virgin. That was a contract. If the man talked shit and said, I don't want this woman, she wasn't a virgin, I don't like her, you would take him to court and bring up your proof that she was a virgin, and he would have to stay with that woman. And then his everything that he had would have to go to that child. Okay? Mainly the boys, but if he didn't have a older son, then it would go to his daughter. But everything of the father had to go to his firstborn. So then that child would be stable for the next generation. You wouldn't have just children just poor and don't got shit. That's the beauty of these laws. That's why these laws were enacted. That's why the Hamites even got laws similar to these laws. See, but when you live in America, you think like the white man, and you don't understand these things, and you think the Bible is just plagiarized. This is not real. The white man made it up. This is too wise and too beautiful for the white man to make up. I'm sorry. Fuck it. No, matter of fact, I'm not sorry. All right, this marriage thing has many facets, man. It deals with it's legal in nature. It's legal in nature to marry this girl off when she get her period. All right, it deals with science, and it deals with the overall health of the community or people that she is in. This is why we fucked up today, because our women don't follow these laws, these marriage laws, and marry your daughter off, and we let our daughters get all hot in the tail, as they say down here, because she done got her period, and now she fucking all type of niggas, because we didn't marry her off and do it the right way. So she would have a husband and get attached to that husband and be molded into a woman. We don't do that shit today. So what the fuck is this nigga Polite talking about? Polite is about chaos, man. Which is what the white man is about. Polite is a fucking hypocrite. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 26. Verse 9 to 12. Sirach 26, 9 to 12. Because these scriptures are beautiful. It says, the whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. These young girls do these type of things. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly. When she get to that age, you got to keep her in the house, man. Lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. And that's what Polite is about, giving these girls liberty. Giving them too much liberty when they don't even understand how to be an adult yet. Their brain is going through so much shit, they don't understand it. They still in a child, and on the other hand, their brain is changing to adulthood. They don't understand how to pick a good husband. They don't understand not to be having sex with all these men yet. All they understand is their hormones is raging the fuck in them. Their hormones is going crazy. They think about sex, their pussy wet, their titties growing big, they got blood coming out of them. They don't know what the fuck to do. So it's up to the man, the father, to marry her away so that she don't abuse herself through overmuch liberty or freedom. It says, watch over an imprudent eye, and marvel not if she transgress against thee. Most women have an imprudent eye. They're imprudent. Especially when they get around their age. They're going to have sex. They're going to do it. Whether you whip the shit out of them or you put them on punishment, whatever, they're going to get out the house and they're going to do it. So you got to marry them off. At least the Hamites, the Africans, got enough sense to do that. And not this dude Polite don't have that much sense. Anyways, goes in more. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he had found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. All right, it says by every hedge she will sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. What is the quiver? You put your arrow inside of the quiver. It's like a pouch. Well, her vagina is a quiver and your rod is the arrow. So she'll be having sex. All right? The wisdom of the scriptures. All right, so at this time, her body is going through puberty. Her puberty is creating hormones in her body, and that's making her have sexual desire. Okay? Alright, the sign of puberty, the body is changing from adulthood and is ready to bear children. The body creates hormones to promote sexual desire in both sexes. Now, I got this from one site. ProjectULA.org. Alright, it says, puberty, hormones, and sexual feelings. I'm just going to read this real quick. It says, puberty is the period of growth from children to adulthood. It is during this time that people become physically able to produce children. People become physically able to produce children. That's key. It says individuals going through puberty experience lots of changes physically, socially, mentally, and emotionally. So what is it that causes all these crazy changes in your body? It's hormones. Hormones are chemical substances that stimulate reaction and trigger growth in the body. The male sex hormone is known as testosterone. The female sex hormone is known as estrogen and progesterone. It says in both guys and girls, these hormones are produced by the pituitary gland. Tiny pea-sized glands located in the base of the brain. Alright. Physical changes of puberty. Changes during puberty occur at different times for everybody. However, most females begin puberty between 8 and 14 years of age. Guys usually start a couple years after girls between the ages of 10 and 16. While some physical changes are shared by both males and females, many are unique to each sex. Physical changes in girls. Girls typically experience a height increase and weight gain starting at age 10. Females might notice more body fat on their arms, hips, and backs. This is normal and is totally natural. Young women begin to develop breasts during puberty. They may also begin to notice the growth of hair in their underarms and around their genitals. Remember the girl earlier? She just starting to develop her breast. That's why her breast is like that. You know how her nipples. Notice her breast is different from this girl's breast. This girl's breast is already set. Hers ain't set yet. She's still developing them. Okay? The first thing that happens when girls develop breasts is their nipple get kind of swole like. The nipple get big. And then it grows on more and more and more till it develops into a breast. Like this girl right here. Alright, let's keep going. Let's go back down. Alright, physical changes in girls. It says they may also begin to notice growth of hair in their underarms and around their genitals. When the estrogen and progesterone reach a high enough level, a young woman experiences menarche, or the start of menstruation. Menstruation is a monthly shedding of the uterine lining. Menarche usually occurs around the age of 12 to 13. So this came from Wikipedia right here. Menarche. It says some estimates suggest that the median age of menarche worldwide is 14, and that there is a later age of onset in Asian populations compared to the West. The average age of menarche is about 12.5 years in the United States, and 12.72 in Canada, 12.9 in the UK, and 13 years in Iceland. A study on girls in Istanbul, Turkey, found the median age of menarche is to be about 12.75. So it's about 12 years old when they get their first period, when they are ready to be eligible for marriage, according to the African civilizations and according to our laws, Israel's laws. Why? Because that's wisdom to marry your daughters off that young. And any people that didn't do that would have to be the dumbest fucking people in the world. Alright, like America. Alright, mental and emotional changes. Individuals going through puberty will experience mental and emotional changes. These types of changes are not visible to others, but they are felt by the individual. As the teen brain develops, it begins to process information differently. So at this stage, the woman's brain changes from adolescence to adulthood. She no longer is going to be thinking about childish things. Her brain is transitioning from thinking about childish things to thinking about adult things like sex. That's why when she goes through this period, her body creates these hormones which drive sexual desire, because her body is now driving her to go ahead and procreate. Go ahead and have children. Go ahead and replicate yourself. Duplicate yourself. Every organism in the world has this process. Down to the microorganisms which split themselves to reproduce themselves. We as humans just happen to have sex. And when this girl goes through this period, her body takes her through the process, and her body pushes her to have sex. Forces her to have sex by creating these hormones in it. At the age of 12. And you can't stop these hormones. Many parents have tried and failed. I know when I was going to school, a lot of girls was having sex 12 years old. Their parents, they might have been Christian girls, strict as her parents, strict as fuck, but they still having sex. You got to marry them off. Sexual feelings. It says the same hormones that cause your body to change during puberty also cause the body to respond to sexual stimulation. What does that mean? Girl might be at school, and the dude that she really like rub up on her the wrong way. And then her pussy get all wet. Don't let her be alone with this dude. Because if the dude kiss her the right way, kiss her on the neck or touch her in the right, touch her somewhere, touch her on the back, she'll say, let's have sex, and she'll have the sex, man. She might not even say it, but if he just go to do it, she'll let him do it. Her body will take control. Her hormones are going to take control. When the woman start to have sex, she lose her fucking mind, and her body takes control. Her hormones take control. Her emotions take control. So you have to marry them off. You have to marry them off young. It says, as sexual response can result from something as simple as thinking about a crush, a dude she like, or as intimate as kissing someone. Sexual motivations and hormones. Sexual motivation is influenced by hormones such as testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, oxycontin, and some other stupid shit medication they got. It says, in most mammalian species, sex hormones control the ability to engage in sexual behavior. However, sex hormones do not directly regulate the ability to copulate or have sex or produce yourself in primates, including humans. Rather, sex hormones in primates, which they talk, when they say primates, they mean humans too, are only one influence on the motivation to engage in sexual behaviors. Meaning that the hormones that the girl's body is producing when she has a period is going to influence her and motivate her to have sex. It's going to push her to have sex, because the Most High said what? Be fruitful and multiply. So the body is designed what? The body is designed to have sex at the sign or at the onset of puberty. The body is designed to have sex as soon as it's ready to produce fruit. That's like having planting a tree outside, and the tree grows up tall and big, and then the tree is ready to bear fruit. It bears the flowers, which flowers come before fruit. The flowers are there they have to be pollinated, and then the flower turns into the fruit. Well, anyways, that's like having a tree, and the tree grow up big and tall. All right, and it grows the flowers, showing that it's time for it to have fruit. But you tell the tree, no, don't have fruit, not yet. You don't want the tree to have fruit yet. The tree is gonna have fruit. That's what the flowers are there for. The flowers are there to turn into fruit. The eggs are coming out of her body her body is going through these processes, and the egg is coming out because it's ready for her to get pregnant. Her body is ready for her to reproduce itself. All right? to reproduce. So, after all this scientific talk, this legal talk, where we talking about why you have to marry your daughters off when they get a period, why the scriptures say that, and why the cultures in Africa do it. All right? Because of the inheritance. All right? Because of the physical, and psychological changes in the girl's body. And because of cultural, and the health of the cultures, and the health of the civilization, or the health of the people is concerned, you have to marry your daughter off. So then, where's this Western, like the white girl said? She thought it was terrible. Like Polite said, we cannot have them teaching these things. I would never expect for an Israelite to say as soon as the girl get a menstruation that she is now eligible to have sex. Well, where does that thought process come from? Because obviously it don't come from the scriptures, and it don't come from the Africans, which Polite says he follows. So where does that mindset come from? It comes from the so-called white man. How do we know that? Let's go into it. Marriage. All right. I'm going to read this first to show you that the Africans don't believe in what Polite is saying. Marriage. According to and this comes off of Wikipedia under marriage. It says, according to the UN, child marriages are most common in rural sub-Saharan Africa. You know why it's rural sub-Saharan Africa? Because rural sub-Saharan Africa still keep the cultures of their forefathers because the white man has not come in and changed it. In South Asia, it says the 10 countries with the highest rates of child marriage are Niger, which is in West Africa. Niger. All right? That's in Africa. They have the highest rate of child marriage. Not saying that that's wrong. According to the white man's world, it's wrong. But according, there's nothing wrong with that, with a child marriage, as long as she got a period. So it's Niger, 75%. Chad, Central Africa, Central African Republic, Bangladesh, Guinea, Mozambique, Mali, Burkina Faso, South Sudan, and Malawi. All right. Go down. Marriage age. It says the wife was to be taken from within the larger family circle, usually at the onset of puberty or around the age of 13, in order to maintain the purity of the family line. But she could not be too closely related, as is shown in Leviticus 18. This goes for the Hamites too. They do that too. All right. It says 13 was the legal age for marriage, but most marriages occurred when the groom was between 16 and 20. That seems very young to us today, but we must remember that there were strong family ties where the father continued to be the strong influence to his greater family. In addition, marrying young had the advantage of reducing the temptation of premarital sex. All right? That's true. Now, we teach that sex is marriage. All right, but it brought a bad stigma when a girl had sex before she had the ceremony that the ancient people would have for her and her husband. That's what I ain't gonna get into that. History and social attitudes. Traditionally across the world, the age of consent. Now notice the age of consent. This is a white man's doctrine. Age of consent. This is what Polite is got his mind on. And that white woman in that clip that you seen that said that was saying this is terrible. Because she was from the West. Traditionally across the world, the age of consent for a sexual union was a matter for the family to decide, or a tribal custom, like in the Himba tribe. It was a tribal custom to marry their daughter off at the sign of menstruation. But let's keep reading. In most cases, this coincided with the signs of puberty or menstruation for a woman and pubic hair for a man. We're not going to go into ancient Rome because they don't believe in going to the white man things. So we're not going to go into the white man shit. But we will go into this. because this has something to do with why Polite thinks the way he thinks on this subject. Okay. The average age of marriage for most Northwest Europeans from the late 13th century into the 16th centuries was around 25 years of age, which is pretty fucking old. The bride and the groom were roughly the same age, with most brides in their early 20s and most grooms 2 or 3 years older, and a substantial number of women married for the first time in their 30s and 40s. This is old as shit. You can't even really have babies in your 30s and 40s, man. It says particularly in the urban areas. It says with the average age at first marriage rising and falling as circumstances dictated. In better times, most people could afford to marry earlier, and thus fertility rose, and conversely, marriages were delayed or foregone when times were bad, thus restricting family size. So why would it be a doctrine to go out and not to marry your daughter off when she's young, not to marry when you're young? Why would that doctrine go about? Because the so-called white man wants to restrict our size. Just like in Egypt. Pharaoh said, throw out the male children, put them in the river, so that they don't grow big and strong and take league with our enemies. America says the same thing. Make them have abortions. Make it a big issue of child marriage. Don't let them marry at when they get their period. Make it a problem. Make them feel bad for having a baby as a teenager or being married as a teenager. Because we need to restrict these niggas' sizes so we can keep control of them. So if Polite is against the so-called white man in the system, he's for Africa, he's for the African, or let's say he's for he's for the liberation of the so-called black man, then why the fuck is he teaching this shit? Why the fuck is he going against the scripture, which that law is a beautiful law that's universal, that can be applied to any people, and the people will increase off of that law. It says as of 2000, the average marriage age ranged from 25 to 44 years for men and 22 to 39 years for women. Okay, let's move on. Age of consent. Introduction. It says in Western law, the age of consent is an age at which an individual is treated as capable of consenting to sexual activity. Is capable of consenting to sexual activity. Why the fuck do you need consent from a girl to get married? We never kept it that way in the ancient days. The girl needs to get married for the health of the people. Consequently, anyone who has sex with an underage individual, regardless of the circumstances, is guilty of a crime. Narrowly concerned with sexual violence. It's not really concerned about sexual violence. And with girls. Originally, since the 19th century, the age of consent has occupied a central place in debates over the nature of childhood, adolescence, and adulthood, and been drawn into campaigns against prostitution and child marriage, struggles to achieve gender and sexual equality. What is this shit about? It ain't about building up your nation, building up your people. It's about constricting your people. It's about the struggles to achieve gender and sexual equality. It's about putting that woman over you, like Polite does. Polite ain't nothing but a black man with a white face on, man. I'm sorry, he ain't nothing but a white man with a black face on. He's pushing the agenda of the so-called white man to achieve gender and sexual equality. All right, and to constrict your nation, man. Okay, it says in the response to teenage pregnancy. What's wrong with teenage pregnancy? As a matter of fact, that's the best time for a woman to have children. Let's go get that in the scriptures. Real quick. 2 Corinthians 5:51. He answered me and said, ask a woman that bear children and she shall tell thee, saying to her, wherefore are unto they whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, but less of stature? And she shall answer thee, they that be born in the strength of the youth are of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age, when the womb felleth, 25 to 40, are otherwise. Consider thou therefore how that ye are less of stature than those that were before you. And so are they that come after you less than ye, as the creature which now begin to be old have passed over the strength of youth. Now it's talking about creation, but nonetheless, it likens it to a woman that has children. It says that over time, that woman, her body's going to get weaker, and the children that she's going to have is not going to be as the same fashion as the children when she had when she was younger. Why? Because in the youth, when a girl first gets her periods, that's the best time to have sex with her and to get her to have children, to be married. For one, she molds to you. Her spirit molds to your spirit. She becomes attached to you. She hasn't gone through a bunch of men and got all these different spirits of these different men and got bitter from these different men hurting or whatever. I can tell you that for a fact. They get attached to you. They don't want nobody else but you. Everything you believe, they believe. You mold them up to be a woman. They don't become hoes when you do it that way. When they have children, their body goes right back because their body is so elastic. Their body is so young and fresh that they have the children. The children are strong and healthy because their body is healthy. And the body goes right back to the way it was. You can't do that with an older woman. You can, but she got to work the fuck out like real. And the children are not going to be as strong. Alright, so back to what I was reading. It says, an age of consent statute first appeared in secular law in 1275 in England as part of the rape law. The statute, Westminster 1, made it a misdemeanor to ravish a maiden within age, whether with or without her consent. The phrase within age was interpreted by jurist Sir Edward Coke as meaning the age of marriage, which at the time was 12 years of age. Laws and regulations based on the age were uncommon until the 19th century. Okay? And consequently, so was possession of proof of age or even knowledge of the precise date or month. It says near the end of the 18th century, other European nations began to enact age of consent laws. This is a European thing. It says the broad context for that change was the emergence of an Enlightenment concept of childhood focused on the development and growth. The notion cast children as more distant in nature from adults than previously imagined, and as particularly vulnerable to harm in the years around puberty. The age of consent, which appealed to boys as well as girls, was increased to 13 years in 1863. Now, as you're going to see, they're going to keep rising it. Like France, many other countries increased the age of consent to 13. In the 19th century, nations such as Portugal, Spain, Denmark, and the Swiss cantons that adopted or mirrored the Napoleonic Code likewise initially set the age of consent at 10 to 12 years and then raised it to between 13 and 16 years. And in the second half of the 19th century, in 1875, England raised the age to 13 years. An act of sexual intercourse with a girl younger than 13 was a felony. In the U.S., each state determined its own criminal law. An age of consent ranged from 10 to 12 years of age. The U.S. laws did not change in the wake of England's shift, nor did Anglo-American law apply to boys. Notice it keep going up. All right, at the age, which 12 is about the right age, 12 to 14. That's about the time to get a period. But let's keep going. At the end of the 19th century, more reformers drew the age of consent into campaigns against prostitution. Now here go the white man. He gonna say, no, we gotta do age of consent because you're gonna have we got a prostitution problem. Revelations of child prostitution were central to those campaigns, a situation that resulted, reformers argue, from men taking advantage of the innocence of girls just over the age of consent. W.T. Stead's series of articles entitled The Median Tribute of Modern Babylon, published in the Pall Mall Gazette in 1885, was the most sensational and influential of these exposés. The outcry it provoked pushed British legislators to raise the age of consent to 16 years and stirred reformers in the U.S., such as a Women's Christian Temperance Union, the British Empire, and Europe to push for similar legislations. By 1920, Anglo-American legislators had responded by increasing the age of consent to 16 years, and even as high as 18 years. You hear that? By the 1920, Anglo-American legislators, white men, had responded by increasing the age of consent to 16 years, and even as high as 18 years. That's where you get the age. You got to be 18 to marry. All right? It says, while those ages were well beyond the normal age of menstruation, which is the ancient way, proponents justified them on scientific grounds that psychological maturity came later than physical maturity. Physiological maturity. They also argued that the age of consent should be aligned with other benchmarks of development, such as the age at which girls could enter into contracts and hold property rights, typically 21 years. Opponents remained focused on psychological maturity, however, and argued that girls in their teens were sufficiently developed not to need legal protection. Moreover, they argued by late adolescence, girls possess sufficient understanding about how to use the law to blackmail unwary men. This shit was about giving the women the right to bear the rule over men. See, the reason you will marry your daughter off early and young, because she's still at that moldable age where you can just mold her, man. You could take her, you could teach her everything, man. You can mold her to how you want her to be. Like if you want her to be sensual, you want her to raise up being an Israelite, you could do that. You can mold her into that. Because she's young, impressionable, and she's going to adore the ground that you walk on. But see, the white man want to take that from you. He want to give you a woman that you can't mold. A woman that's going to be at odds with you. She going to have her own opinion, and you going to have your own opinion. And y'all cannot be one. And what the scriptures say? If Satan be divided against Satan, how can this house stand? All right, so if your house is two houses, if a house is divided against itself, how can it stand? That's why you're broken in America. The woman got her mindset, the man got his mindset, and they on two different wavelengths. All right? That's why no houses stand in America of ours. Men in the marriages. It's all planned by the so-called white man. So Polite, with everything he says about we shouldn't be teaching these things and we shouldn't uphold these things when the Africans do, Polite is wrong. Polite is just an agent of the white man. I don't know if he's really an agent, if they pay him to be an agent, but whether he is or not, he still carries around the doctrine of the so-called white man. Even against the own people that he says he is, because they carry the doctrine that we got in the scriptures on this concerning marriage and the marriage age and the rape issue. Alright? So, with that, once again, matter of fact, I want to play this clip one more time, man.
The last thing I expect to hear from the Hebrew Israelites was that so long as the girl is menstruating, she is a woman, and you're permissible to have sex with her.
That's what Polite says. But as you see, I proved all of that shit wrong, according to the things that he believes in, according to the people that he says he is, according to the scriptures, according to science, according to the legal standards of communities or groups of people or nations, and according to logic. Okay, we proved all that shit. What he talking about, bullshit. So with that, I'm CHAARAWTAZA. I say all praise to YAHAWASHI. Double honors to my elders, Great Millstone. Those are my elders. Okay. I say peace and blessings to all the brothers that go out and teach in truth and sincerity, and all the brothers that believe in truth and sincerity, and the women too. If you're into that Egyptology shit, you better get out of that shit. That shit is a bunch of hypocrisy. Niggas in that shit just trying to make money. We ain't making no money off of y'all, off of Israel. We don't make money to do these videos. We don't do debates and get money. We do this for the love of the word of the Most High, the love of the truth, and then hope that we might be saved out of the destruction of this kingdom. And because we want, we want our people to be saved, man. We want a kingdom for ourselves. So with that, we say, all praise YAHAWASHI. YAHAWASHI Barakatham to you brothers out there. Shalom.